Yeah, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Joyce Shikuku, and I'm the East Africa Regional Coordinator for World's Mountain Initiative, and I'm in Kilifi, Kenya. And today we're having our session with Mr. Eannes Ongus. He's the Chief Director, Development at United States International University, Africa. Mr. Eannes is not new to us. He has been our presenter for the 2 consecutive academic years, and this year he took us through the SWOT analysis. And today he will be empowering us on how to create a pitch presentation. So Mr. Eannes has several years of experience in resource mobilization, partnership building, community empowerment, and development. He also consults in leadership and corporate governance, strategic planning and management, corporate social responsibility, among others. So as we proceed with our sessions, you can ask your questions in the chat box. Feel free when you feel like you need something to be clarified in the middle of the session, just go ahead and send it on the chat box. And if anyone feels that they have an answer to a question that has been asked by a fellow scholar, you can go ahead and answer that question, and then Mr. Eannes will clarify that during or after this session. Please make it a very, very interactive session, because this speech is gonna give us good learning session. So remember, you're here to learn from each other. Thank you so much, Mr. Eannes, for taking your time to participate, to be our presenter today, and I'm giving you the floor to go ahead and start our session.
Thank you, Joyce. Good morning and good evening and good afternoon. You know, we are all logging in from different locations. I just want to greet you all. And just also to mention, as Joyce has alluded to, is that this is one of my favorite, topic, because again, substantially, when somebody possesses a title of development basically means fundraising. So I raise money, and what do we raise money for? We raise money for projects that are impactful, so the element of pitching is you want to share out there an idea that you basically have, and you want to impress on the potential investors and partners to come on board, to basically work with you in a project that you strongly believe in. So again, this kind of, presentations, my approach is that I expect we engage and interact as much as possible, and we can interact through the chat. Let's learn from each other. When you have specific questions, please raise them. And this session is leading to another exciting session, which would be, putting basically a pitch, before judges, so that now they can evaluate what you guys have been learning for the last, 8 weeks or so. So I'm looking forward to the session. And just to begin off, just allow me to, share the screen, and hopefully we would be able to pick it, from there. So can you confirm that you're able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. So what are the expectations of this session, ladies and gentlemen? I just want us to really understand what a pitch deck, what a pitch presentation is. We understand and decide what a successful pitch presentation, will look like. We are also expected to learn some tips, for pitch presentations, and then learn about how to make follow-ups, after you've done your pitch, because you might have done a great job, but the question therefore is, once you've done your pitch and you're convinced that you've done a great job and money is on the way, or potential supporters are on the way, is the question of then, how then do you strike? How then do you continue, to make the follow-up? So these are what I expect as the learning outcomes, for this session. So what is a pitch deck? And it is called different names, depending on, the context, where you are, coming from, and also depending on whether it's a business or it's an NGO or it's a CBO, so a pitch deck is basically what then you'll also call a shop list, a wish list, or what then you like now, what is it that you want to sell, packaged in a manner that makes sense, to the potential, partners, that are likely to come on board. So a pitch deck can give businesses, entrepreneurs, a detailed but concise snapshot of what their company is all about, basically to attract investors, and it also helps with the understanding, to help you understand the necessary elements, that you require for a successful pitch, and what that then does to you in terms of understanding the elements, it brings you closer to that potential partner. So we'll be using different terminologies, of course. When you are a startup can be a startup for businesses, specific to businesses and for profits. What then you will call, social entrepreneurship. You are making money from your enterprise, but at the same time you're solving a social problem. On the other hand, there will be the NGO, the CBO kind of startup, where now you are not looking at in terms of making money, but in terms of the profit, but you're looking at in terms of the revenue that you're making. You're basically plowing back those revenue back to growing the entity, or the business. So this is what a pitch deck, helps you to do, to give high-level highlights, of what are the elements of your enterprise, your CBO, your NGO, your startup, that you want to bring to the attention of a partner, and that partner can be an investor, that partner can be somebody who wants to help you in kind, that partner can be somebody who just even give you an expertise, that you likely need, to basically grow, the enterprise. Why do we do this? What is the purpose? The goal is for you to earn your next meeting. Some of these pitches are less than 3 minutes. You meet a CEO, of a foundation. You meet a CEO with a potential investor in a lift, and is expecting you to, you have, by the time you're moving from ground floor, to the 4th floor or the 5th floor, where the CEO has the entire space, you've already basically say what you wanted to say. So it's a snapshot that you are prepared, and you can actually do within 2 to 3 minutes of you meeting somebody, that can be a potential partner, to your project, your program, your enterprise, or your business. Your pitch gives the investor or a partner an opportunity to learn more about your organization. So if you give me, just a summary, of what then we'll call a pitch deck, I will get an opportunity to get to understand your institution, your organization, your startup slightly better, and that is what that document is supposed to achieve. And once you prepare that document can either be delivered verbally, or that document can be shared in form of, a written documentation. So you can actually share it with an attachment, and somebody looks at it and say, oh, this makes sense. From the pitch deck, somebody can ask you, please send a detailed proposal, or please send a detailed business plan, or please send me, let's meet to have a chat, because somebody pretty much has an idea, of what you're trying to achieve and the impact you're trying to realize, and they really want to be part of that journey, based on the realistically, aspect of the things that you want to bring on board. Since investments really are made after just one meeting, and as a fundraising professional, I will tell you, you will get to that potential high net worth individual, and we refer to high net worth individual for people who have up to $1 million in disposable income. The people with $1 million in disposable income, those are not the kind of people who open their wallets very easily at one meeting. You require at least 7 good meetings before they actually open their wallets, to support your enterprise, your investment. So since investments really are made by just one meeting, your aim at you developing this pitch deck is to ensure that you attract that interest, you spark that interest, you sell your entity, you sell your project, so that you leave a mark that somebody would want more. And that aspect of I want more is what actually is likely to earn you that next meeting. You want a partner. I'm using the word partner here because of again, different entities that we are looking at starting. They could be investors, they could be partners, because investors are people who are interested in value for what they're basically giving you. But partners, they're people who are just interested in donating, some support towards you succeeding, or giving you an expertise where they don't expect anything in return, because they know that when they support your journey, you're going to impact many, many more. So that's why now I will use partners more than investors, because partners encompasses both investors, and non-investors, within this space. So again, you want your partners to ask for more after they hear your pitch, and not just to basically show you the door, having made your presentation. So pitch, content, and samples. What we are looking at is how then do you structure your pitch? What is important in a snapshot, in a snippet? What do you want me to see? Some people do their pitches in terms of a very nice one-pager graphical representation. Some put it in terms of a nice format, capturing the key elements of the things that you've learned, over the last 8 weeks or so, into this academy. So one of the things that is important, in terms of preparing your content for that page is you need an introduction. Who are you? And what are you here for? That introduction becomes very critical. My name is so-and-so. I am the CEO, of the Charles O, advocate, or an NGO, that deals with this and this and this. I am here to ask for your support and partnership to be able to start this organization up, or to be able to scale, or to be able to introduce this kind of product, and what I'm asking of you is probably 2 minutes, 5 minutes to listen to me, and what I'll be asking for is for this is what you expect. So again, some kind of an introduction, is critical about the project, about who you are, what you want to achieve, and the second aspect, which is critical, is you might not be somebody, or the organization might not be able to exist if there is no team behind it. So you need to show the team behind it, even if it's a one-person's team, or there are 2 people, or they are co-directors, or the co-partners, 3 people, 4 people that are behind the idea that you're trying to sell. So the team behind the idea is critical. And the team behind the idea is not just the team, it's what expertise, what value does the team brings on board. The third component that you're trying to show from your page is what are you trying to solve? Are you trying to solve any problem? For example, we have maize corn, or which is being planted everywhere, but there are still issues of food security. So do you want to come and solve the question of food security because there are no players in food security, or because the players in the food security sector are overwhelmed and you want to add to another voice, or another support to the thematic area around food security? Are you coming to address the issues around climate change? Are you coming to address issues around human rights? Are you coming to address issues around girls' education? Are you coming to address issues around security? Are you coming to address issues around technology? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? Have some people ventured into this problem before? Have their solution failed? How is your solution unique, to this problem. So you need to bring out what is it that you're trying to solve. And some people come up with projects because they're not trying to solve anything. The problem exists, but the problem has exists in magnitude that the existing players cannot solve all the issues. So you're just coming in to lend a voice. But some people are saying, I don't appreciate the way these entities that currently exist approach this problem. And therefore now my solution would be a unique way to basically help address this and achieve scale, within this kind of time frame. Then what will be critical also is that what makes you special? What is the comparative advantage that you have over others? What are the strengths that you have, in this particular pitch? And it's important to bring out, do you have strength on the team behind the idea? Do you have strength in terms of the resources that exist? Do you have strength in terms of there are no strong competitors that are trying to resolve this issue? Do you have strength that, you've got, a very strong voluntary base that exists? Do you have strength because there's a big need, that when you start, when you basically bring in this idea of viewers or this solution of viewers, then you are not going to, to struggle in terms of the implementation. So what are the unique competitive advantages that you have, as an entity, as an enterprise, as an NGO? And those unique areas can come from the staffing component, can come from the resourcing component. You might be having a very strong fundraising team, can be coming from the leadership. You might be having a very strong governance. So you have to pick on what is unique about this entity, because that is going to propel you. Then what investors or partners would like to see is the solution. What solution are you proposing? Have other people proposed such solutions before? Why do you think your solution is going to work? Have you tested it? How much, have you piloted it, to basically be guaranteed that this solution I have tested and I do believe that is basically going to work. So solution to the problem that you had identified become a very critical areas. This is what I'm bringing on board. I would want to basically give access, to young girls that have scored between this grade to this grade, for free. And I will subsidize that. That is the solution that I'm bringing on board. This is what I want to support in terms of persons with disability, young women. This is a solution that I'm actually bringing on board, young male, so the affirmative action, so what is it that you're bringing on board in terms of the solution? Then there is the product and service. People want to see the activities, for purposes of NGO and startups, the product and service might not apply. That might apply to people who are doing startups, entrepreneurship, but the people who are coming with NGO, and CBO, CSO backgrounds. What then would be critical is what programs, what activities are you proposing? Because those activities could be, I want an activities around prepare for purposes of education, activities around psychosocial support, activities around education, as activities around recruitment, activities around support. What are these activities from a programmatic point of view that you're suggesting? Because those activities is what you're going to cost. Where I see it as a partner, every activity is aligned with the budget, and the budget becomes a critical component. When you're presenting or you're doing your pitch, what is it going to cost? If it is in terms of product and services, all those raw materials, all those marketing that you will do, everything around that. So the product and services becomes critical, the activities becomes critical as well. Then again, who are your target audience? Who do you intend to serve, in terms of the market? So if you've got a product and service, who do you target to reach? Who are so there's the market from the business enterprises perspective, but now from the NGO and CBO, there is what we call the potential beneficiaries. Who are the potential beneficiaries of your initiative? So that you have to map out that, somebody who wants to be in the education space could argue and saying, no, we intend to have a youth badge in Africa, and the numbers continues to grow, and we are looking at Africa to be getting to 5 billion, in population by, by this number of years, and because of this, it's being projected, the unemployment rate is this, and the youth menace around this, and this is actually what we can do. If I start this project, then I'm going to get young people out of streets. To do this, I'm going to give better healthcare. I'm going to do this. So who are the potential beneficiaries of your initiative? Who are the potential market that you intend to serve, from this? But we had talked about what that we call the SWOT analysis. And within the SWOT analysis, there's what is called the competition analysis, competitors analysis. What is the competition doing out there? So that you arrive at a determination that your solution that you're proposing, is an add-on, or is unique, and therefore now can achieve impact and can achieve scale. So you have to do a competitors analysis. What other people are doing out there, so that now you're saying that this is what is happening out here. So you are aware. Investors, partners wants to know that you are aware. And somebody can say, how comes there's a lot of people in this education space? You're saying, yes, there is a lot of people in the education space. However, this is how what I'm proposing is unique. And this is how I am going to leverage on the people in the education space to do something. Let's say, for example, people who start up scholarship programs, for example, and they say we'll sponsor, people at the tertiary level. Education starts from the basic education at the, what then you call the preschool, to the school, higher primary, then you go to the high school, then from the high school, then you move to the tertiary or the university. There are people who say that they're cutting their niche to basically support education at the secondary level. There are those who support education at the primary level. So you say that you want to come on board to support education at the tertiary or university level, so that now the people that you are targeting could be channeled to, dignified work, so that they can get the impact. But you are saying that other players will be a value addition to your initiative because they will provide an important pipeline for you, or provide an important pipeline for your initiative. So again, looking at other players, doing your competitors analysis and saying, this is how I am going to work with my competitors, to basically support this initiative at scale, or this is the gap that I'm seeing that I'm coming to fulfill, that probably the competitors are basically not doing. So it's important in your pitch content and sample to ensure that you have a summary, of this, and this could be a one-pager document, that you're presenting and talking through it, when you're making pitch, because again, now moving from one slide to another takes some important, valuable time away from you, and you do not want that when you're speaking to a potential partner. So again, the pitch content continues in terms of, again, the business model. Is how are you planning to make money, from the initiative, especially for the business aspect, but also the people who are taking the NGO side is how are you planning to create surplus? Because now from the surplus, you will then be investing the surplus back, to support the entity, and then what is your budget? That budget, what are you asking for? And again, from, a business point of view, you're looking at the products, the ingredients, the raw materials, the staffing, and then you're able to come up with, this is what I am asking for in terms of the budget. But again, from the NGO and CBO perspective, then what then you will do, you will look at the programs. What are the activities that you are planning to do? And then cost those activities in terms of systems, in terms of human resource, in terms of, the core programs of the project, and then just say from this is what my budget would look for. And then now from the budget, you're looking at, when you're speaking to a partner and you're pitching, it's important to suggest, that this is what I am bringing on board. I am not starting from scratch. I have posted my time to develop this concept. I have posted the personnel that will be offering some voluntary for a period of 6 months, without stipend and all that kind of stuff. So the in-kind support to this particular initiative or this particular project or business, would come to maybe around, $5,000, and based on the $5,000, you have put in terms of in-kind $2,000, and what you're asking from the, as an injection to support the initiative is $3,000. So that now the commitment and the ownership is seen from the person who is making the pitch. But if you go and say that I am looking for $5,000, give me the $5,000, I will pay myself, from the $5,000, and I will use this to run the following activities. Again, from a partner and an investor perspective, they're looking at the risks component. And the risk component is, if you cannot invest in your own business, why would you expect somebody to invest in your own initiative? And all that. So that show of goodwill, show of commitment is very critical, when you're designing, programs like this and when you're designing your pitch deck, But what is most important, because how will these people reach you? In any of the pitch, do not fail to get the contact out there. You need to ensure, and the contact that you're putting out there should be the contact of the person who makes decision. Don't just say, I've hired a consultant and put the contact of the consultant there. You're the one who knows the vision. You're the one who knows the mission. You're the one who's done your SWOT analysis. You've done your business model. You've tested this idea. You're the one who believes in this idea. And therefore now the contact of the person you put there is either the contact of the CEO or the contact of, what we call the founder, the person who has actually founded this particular initiative. So saying, this is how you can reach. So you can put the CEO, but you can also put probably the founder, and then you can put somebody else as an alternate contact to it. And you ensure that the name is critical, the designation and title is critical, because the partner is saying, how serious are you, when you're sharing this? Then you have to provide the email address and you have to provide the telephone contact, so that now somebody can just pick a phone call and say, I like this, can we meet so that we have a conversation? So it's always important to have your contact, and the person you push there should be the senior most, within the entity or the initiative that you're trying to create. Now you've done, that is just the content. When it comes to judging, it's important that I also give a high-level highlights on what the judges look out for, and again, is how you present it. When we sit as judges, and I have adjudicated, many of these pitches, some of the things that we are looking out for, if you plan well, you are actually able to basically secure this, in a record 2 to 3 minutes, in terms of how you, so it's always the planning and the investment of time towards your preparation is critical, because the judges will assess how prepared are you, for this pitch, how prepared are you, and how prepared, goes with the amount of time that you've actually invested in this. So we'll look at the project idea. Which idea do you have as a person, and what is informing this idea, in terms of the background. Give the judges some context, why you have this idea and what is informing this idea. Give the judges some context around that. But also show the judges that you've done some analysis. You're not just coming, it's not just the context, it's not just about the idea. You've also done, you've pretty much done your research and done some analysis, and you want to present to the judges what then you'll call a needs assessment or a market analysis around whatever initiative that you're trying to have. Then be very clear in terms of the program. These are the activities that I want to do, from this project. This is what I am going to cost. So start seeing it from, these are the programs, these are the services, these are the activities that I intend to do, from this initiative, and again, this is how special I am. And you can pick the speciality, how special you are, or the value proposition from you as a person who is pushing, who is the vision holder, or you can also pick it from a team that surrounds you, or you can pick it from the structures that you've already set in place that you think that will make this particular initiative succeed. So what is unique? You need to bring out the competitive advantage that you have over others, and it's also highlight the team. These are the people that will push this idea in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, in the next 50 years of existence of this vision. So this is the team behind this. It's good to highlight the team, 2 or 3 people that are the drivers, the key movers, the key shakers, of the organization, the entity, or the idea behind it. Then what are you looking for in terms of the budget? You can have a ballpark figure. You've already done your background and saying, I am looking for $5,000, I'm looking for $10,000, and if you give me $10,000, this is the kind of impact, this particular investment or this particular support, is basically going to achieve. And the investment that you're looking out for is not necessarily in form of, the investment will come in many forms. Somebody can decide to give you a loan that you're likely to pay back because they bought into your idea and they don't expect anything in return. Somebody can decide to give you a donation to actualize your idea. Somebody can decide to be part of your business and saying that, hey, can I be your partner? This is the value I'll bring on board. I'm giving you funding 100%, but in return, I expect to sit in the board. I expect to be part of the co-founder of this initiative. So funding comes in different varieties of forms. So it's you to figure out what type of funding are you looking for. Are you willing to bring in somebody as a partner, to basically to co-share, that initiative? Are you willing to take some loan because you're convinced that there will be payback, once the project picks up? Are you willing to accept purely a donation? Because as an investor, as the person with the idea, you make decision on what to go for. I have rejected money, before, because I felt that money, such resources probably came with some strings attached. So I've said, well, thank you, but no thanks. Because you are also looking at investors that can help propel and push, your entity forward. And you don't have to say yes, to everything. You can actually say no, because you strongly believe maybe another partner will come on board that will probably give you a better support, going forward. The overall design, look and feel of the presentation and the presenter, it's very, very critical. Again, put some time. Judges look for people who have invested time in some of these things. You invest time in the presentation, and you're also investing time in yourself, in terms of how you articulate issues, how you dress, how you present yourself, how you respond to issues, the agility that you've got. These are some of the things that the judges look out for, and most certainly when you'll be doing your pitches, whether it's in video form, whether it's live, they will always, look at investment of time, both into the project and in yourself who is making the pitch. Quickly, some of the things you need to look at, prepare to make a first impression. I've talked about that. Limit each of the slide. If you are to do pitches per slide, maybe you can limit each idea, per slide. You can actually show the people behind the idea. You can tell a story and engage people emotionally, depending on how you the kind of impact is likely to, to achieve, especially those who look at the CBO and the NGO side. In business, sometimes, the emotions might not work, is sometimes because they're moved by profitability. They will be interested and keen on the viability of the project. The key success is critical on how you're going to measure success. So it's important to highlight that. You need to keep a consistent look, in the presentation. So we don't want to see some PowerPoints, with some different font sizes and all that kind of stuff. So consistency becomes very critical. Some of the things that you should avoid, don't read word by word. This is taken that this is your pitch. So give high-level highlights. Let the people who are seeing the screen see what is on the screen, but that might not necessarily be the same wording as what you say, because you've interpreted, you've internalized, what to say, how to say, where to say, and even the timing of what you say. And you can even skip some slides, if you think that at that point is just for their information and might not be important to address at that point, because you're also raising against time. Don't come unprepared. I cannot overemphasize that. Don't use small fonts, make it as visible as possible, and don't make your presentation so long. Again, just some tips when you're making your presentation. And this one, when you're making it, you can make it in form of a video, or you can make it in live pictures. Always smile, make use of the spaces that are available for you. Speak clearly. Don't be afraid to gesture, and also remember to just breathe normally, and maintain, the eye contact. Follow-up is critical. Is always important. Once you've done your pitch, if you can have another team member, who will be taking notes in terms of the comments that you'll be hearing from the judges. Look for weak points probably that maybe led to some negative or harsh reactions from the judges. Correct them, and then keep refining and practicing and executing, for you to make a perfect pitch. People who are successful have made more than 3 or 4 pitches before. When you attend one, you get feedback. They're not criticism, they are opportunities for you to grow, learn, and actually, if you're not successful, there's nothing stopping you from dropping a message and saying that, oh, I just presented a pitch last week around our business. I just wanted to know how I perform, and if there are areas of improvement that you spotted that I can work on. You can be magnanimous, in terms of being proactive to ask, for feedback on your pitches, and people might be gracious enough to share those feedback as a way of you improving. Don't stress yourself out, and treat every pitch, as a learning experience for you and for your enterprise, and you'll always continue to get better day by day, as you continue to share with each other and continue to share with different partners about your ideas. So I want to stop there, happy to have some engagement, and happy to also respond to specific questions that you may be having. Thank you very much. Over to you, Joyce.
Eannes, for the wonderful presentation. And now I'll start welcoming in questions from our good listeners. I hope they learned a lot. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for questions. And here we have one from Patrick Iradukunda. He's asking, what are unprofessional mistakes someone would avoid in pitch video?
Yes, thank you, Patrick. Actually, when you're looking at the video and you're looking at, the live presentations, take, like right now, when I'm presenting to you, if we are to meet live, I would still make the same presentation. You get that? And probably now I am seated, the only difference, probably I would be moving to ensure that I make good use of the, of the space, So in a video, kind of pitch, that might not be, maybe visible. But again, when you are, the way we're having a conversation, when you're doing a pitch over the video, you're still showing the potential slides in terms of the idea, because you are there in person. You're being captured while you're making your pitch. You're just saying, hey, let me walk you through my pitch. So somebody could be on the other side and then just recording, and you're just making a presentation that this is the idea that I have. This is what I want to do, and this is the kind of support and the partnership that I'm looking for, from the potential partners, so that now they see you in the video making a presentation, but at the same time, they're also seeing, the content that you're basically trying to portray. There are a lot of things that you can actually avoid. Backgrounds that are busy. Because again, they tend to be very distractive. So avoid backgrounds that are busy, because you want the visibility to be on the presentation that you're basically making, So plain background will go a long way, a professional look works, and then now ensure that your background, again, is not conflicted in terms of the color, with the presentation that you're basically making. So you want to avoid very busy, backgrounds, both your background and the kind of presentation that you're basically, having, so you can always test. The beauty is when you're doing the video, the advantage when you're doing the pitch using the video is that you can edit it several times. You get that you're assuming that you're live, so you can say and give reviewers. One of the things is use your colleagues, use your network to actually check on that video and ask them, what did you think about this? That if you are the potential, partner, have I impressed you? What are the areas that I need to improve on? And all that kind of stuff. So get comments from your colleagues, get comments from your family, get comments from your peers who are ahead of you, in terms of what is there. Some of these things is a collaborative work, because when you get into pitching and looking for resources and starting that enterprise or NGO, you will note that you cannot make it alone. You will require a team to work with you, as you're implementing it, but also you require collaborators, external collaborators to make you succeed. So part of collaboration that you're looking at, is what will continue a long way, but also just to ensure that technology that you're using at the point of assessing your pitches, we are not going to argue that, oh, I had a low internet, and therefore now that is why now I have a poor quality video. Judges look for how much you've invested in time, in resources. There's nothing stopping you from going to a studio to just record your pitch, and all that kind of stuff, because you have to take it seriously. So people saying that I want to record using my phone, and all that kind of stuff, and somebody who says that, oh, I have a great idea. I want this to basically record it in a studio, a local studio, of course, you're putting some budget in there, and all that. So, and judges will check. I have got 10 pitches to look at or 15 pitches to look at. If I'm looking at this, which ones are well presented, which ones are articulate, which ones are visually appealing? These are some of the things that, judges look for, and all that kind of stuff. But I encourage you, in terms of the video, pitches, you can always improve. And there are also great resources about video pitches. You can also Google them, just for you to learn, and don't copy everything. Do it your way, your style, as long as you're communicating and you know that you can convince a potential partner to, to take your side. So thank you very much. I hope, Patrick, that responds to your question.
Thank you so much, Eannes, for that comprehensive feedback. Now, there are a number of questions here. James Bokari is asking, what are the recommended backgrounds for virtual video pitch competition? But I think you've already answered that alongside with Patrick's question. So we'll move to Larry Mareza. He's asking, during pitch presentation, are you allowed to use cue cards, those small notes you prepare and read from, or hold and read them from your hands?
Larry, that's a great question. When I was making presentations, sometimes, like now these Zoom presentations, nobody will know that I'm actually reading anything. You get that, by just looking at me, you'll not know that I'm reading anything. The people in the news media actually read. You might think that when you're seeing them, they're just getting things from their head. There's nothing like that, my friend. Some of these things, you take your notes because it is serious business. Take your notes, put your cue cards, write whatever points, important points that you want to talk about. Even presidents, look at presidents when they're giving their speeches. They have those notes, and that does not make them any less or that they don't know what they're basically talking about. Is that the way they are organizing their thoughts? Is the way they don't want to make mistakes? They have 30 minutes or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. They want to make it sharp, pointed, and to the point. So yes, you're allowed to use your cue cards, but the question therefore is, do you want me to know that you're using your cue cards? As opposed, that is the back end that you don't want me to see. You get that? So when you're making your page, it's like, oh, prepare your cue card, position them very nicely, and make your page, so that now somebody who is looking at the page does not know and cannot differentiate whether you use your cue cards or did not use your cue cards, So I would use that, that should be your back-end preparation. But yes, you need some short notes to basically ensure that you are very sharp and pointed.
Thank you so much, Eannes. You've also answered Patrick's question. He asked if he could read the script during the recording. So, Patrick, you have the answer right there. And then Eric Mugabo is asking, thank you for this very informative session. I want to know, what is the most important part or section of the pitch one should focus on much?
Eric, that's a great question. I can tell you, number one is if you're riding a vehicle and somebody asks you to, what is the most important part of the vehicle? It's the question of how would you respond to that? I can tell you that every part of that vehicle is important. Every part of that vehicle is important. If you think that the tires are not important, get a puncture. Believe you me, you'll not move from one place to the other. If you think that the engine, if you get an engine knock, it's not gonna work. Look at pitch presentation as a system, and because it's a system, every part of it is important, because you will not be able to arrive at a budget if you did not share with me what your vision is. So for me, it's the question of where do you allocate most of your time based on your strength? You get that? So if you are the CEO and you're making a pitch and you know that what is it that is visible that I want to show to the potential partner? The only thing that I want to show to the potential partner is how prepared I am, as an entity to take on this, So that is what basically I will actually be focusing on. So I will be focusing from a pitch perspective. I will give high-level vision. This is the problem you're trying to address, and then spend my time on this is the competitive advantage that I have as an entity. If I know that that's where my strength lies, so that now when I'm asking for the dollar value, somebody looks at, I believe this team is competent enough to take good care of the dollar that they're basically asking for. But there are people who say, at this point, I do not have a very strong team behind the idea. But what I know is my visioning is the strength that I have. I have a vision, and I want this potential partner to basically focus on my vision. Then that is what I'm going to spend my time into. I'm going to spend my time that this is the idea that I have, and this is the solution. So I'm going to focus on the idea, and then I'm going to focus on the solution. But I know that I don't have a strong team behind it. So I will just mention as an important component the team that I propose, to help me implement the idea and the vision that I have, but I'm not going to dwell there, because that is not what I want the potential partner to focus on. What I want the potential partner to focus on is the fact that I have a vision, I have an idea, I have a solution, to this problem that I've highlighted. And I'm just asking them to give me resources. And when you give me the resource, I will fix my team, which is a weak area for me. I will fix my programs, which require funding. I will fix all the equipment and the associated infrastructure that requires funding. So again, I will focus, on areas which I see as my strength, but I'll mention all the sections because they would be important, to the potential investor. And the judge will look at it, are you holistic? Do you know even what your strengths are, in as much as, you're not focusing on them? What your weaknesses are, in as much as you're not focusing on them? Do you know what your opportunities are? Do you know what your, what your weaknesses are? So recognizing that, in fact, getting us to sort, that is what you need to look at. And that is where now you need to spend your time when you're basically making a pitch. I don't know whether that is helpful, Eric. Okay, I can see Roland,
yes,
ask another question.
Go ahead. Roland is asking, what is the maximum number of slides for a PowerPoint presentation? And is it wise to use images and graphs through the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, so Ronald, in fact, the way, you present the PowerPoint, for me, if you are visual, the better. Using the graphs, and all that kind of stuff, you can tell your story in a graphical manner. So if you can share your numbers in graphical manner, if you can share, so somebody sees that you've actually put effort. So I will do the balancing when I'm looking at my business model, I might want to present my business model in terms of graphs, pie charts, and all that kind of stuff. If I want to highlight important statistics around, I want to throw in some big numbers, then I will actually use in the pie charts, of this world. If I'm just saying that this one and now need to use narrative, then I will actually use narrative to basically push that. If I want to show a case, this is the need, and I have some pictorial that can actually capture that need, then I will actually bring that, because how you present your page, graphically, can also be appealing. It's what you project, but it's also what you say, as the potential presenter. So again, some of these are value addition, and these are where now judges adds what then you call the bonus points, just to ensure that, you become number one, because sometimes the difference between number one and number two is just 1 point. You get that? So how are you organized, to be able to basically beat the competition and become that WMI, our D, for 2022 Academy, for the pitches, So this is some of the things that we'll be looking at, the extra hard, how you present your work and how basically you make that pitch presentation.
Absolutely. Now, Lovetta is asking, can pitch presentation be done in a room to avoid background feedback?
Yes, it can be done in a room. In fact, it depends on how you, like, for example, I'm making a presentation now. Would you tell where I am actually picking this from? It might be very difficult to know where I'm picking this from. And maybe my back end, I'm picking this from my office, but I have a lot of files and all that kind of stuff. But I have, used a very nice background within the Zoom, and it's very difficult to actually tell, and all that kind of. So lock yourself in that room, ensure it's as quiet as that what you're presenting and what you're saying is what is being listened to, and that is, for me, that is important, and listen to that pitch yourself. And then ask yourself, be the judge, sit there, create some rubric for yourself, look at it and saying, how did I perform? What my gesture, how was I, were there some noises that were coming from the background, and all that kind of stuff. Then you want to avoid that as much as possible. You can take it again, you can take it again, you can take it again, that by the time you are submitting it, you will tell somebody that you did not know, but that was the 10th edition, of my pitch that I was presenting in a span of 2 days. In 2 days, you can actually do refine your pitch almost 10 times, in different locations. And some of these things you can actually work with friends, go to, if somebody has a very nice location, just go and say, can I use this background? So the choice of the background you use is critical, and all that kind of stuff. And some of these things can also be recorded via Zoom. You can create a background and saying, I want this to be recorded, probably via Zoom, and all that kind of stuff, so that now, you see how that goes. So yes, the choice of the background is critical, ensure that there are no noises, and if you sense the noise, because when I'm judging your pitch or your presentation, these are some of the things that I'm also looking out for, how serious, basically you are, because when you're pitching, believe you me, I'm giving you money. You're looking for me to give you money and give you expertise, So how you present this and the amount of investment of time, will determine a lot of things in my final decision, to award you that, give you that award.
Yes, Lovetta is saying thank you. She's been answered. And then Victoria is asking, do I need a laptop for the presentation?
So yes and no, it depends. So for example, laptops tends to have very high, I'm using a laptop and it's a bit clearer. There are people with desktops, and wants to record on desktops, and you will know the challenges that comes with desktops when you're doing the recording. My best advice, borrow. Just go and borrow. Get, some of your friends who are working, who are in office, just go and ask them that, hey, can you help me with your laptop, for maybe for 2 hours or for 3 hours, and then record something. And then, nowadays, even the Zoom accounts are free. You can actually do that 40 minutes. Remember, you're not going to have 40 minutes to do the pitch, For example, you're doing probably a 3 minutes video or a 2 minutes, and all that kind of stuff. So the 40 minutes is enough time for you to practice. Then now invest time in editing whatever you had basically made on, so that now you ensure that it's within the time frame that is basically allowable for you. So yes, use the laptop for purposes of making the video. That's fine. If in the absence of the laptop, you can go to a studio. They can record it for you within the studio setup. But my fear with studios is the question of the timing and the noises as well, because people are just coming in. They might not know the seriousness of what is basically going down. So looking for a quiet place would require you to have your own personal space and your own and just probably get some camera people, videographer to come to your place or the place you've identified just to take that shoot, because the location of the shoot is also important. Because again, how are you going to show your PowerPoint presentations? How are you going to show that one? You have to create an environment that allows you to have those presentations. But the PowerPoint is one aspect. Let me also mention, Joyce, that you don't need a PowerPoint to make a page. I can just come to make a page the way I am without showing anything. And just saying, guys, hey, this is who I am, this is my organization. So I can just talk, without necessarily, and when I talk, and then I can make presentation while I'm scribbling things on the smart board, or something without necessarily showing the PowerPoint. So it's your style, it's what works for you, what you choose, and how unique you want to be, basically win this, the pitch. And sometimes it's not about winning, because you guys are creating enterprises, impactful projects that will go beyond this academy. The idea that you have is the question of, even if it does not work now, you will still be using that idea for prosperity, and for the future. So don't just look at it that you're creating this for purposes of assessment. You are creating this because you believe in it, and it's something that you will constantly be looking for support. You're looking for partners. You continue to nurture it in the long term, beyond just what WMI has done for you is to give you that background, to give you that what you need to jumpstart your career around a startup of your choice, whether NGO, or entrepreneurship, or something. You've been given a good background with great facilitators. So how you pick that, is again how much you want to advance your idea forward.
Thank you. One final question, Eannes, is how did you become involved in the profession of development fundraising?
That one will need another chance altogether. Let me mention that let me just mention to our participants that this is the most rewarding, profession. It's the most rewarding profession you can ever be. And I got myself here by choice. I am an IT graduate. I did my bachelor's in IT. So somebody will be asking, you did IT, you should be in the IT field. What are you doing in fundraising? You will get engineers who are in fundraising. You will get doctors who are in fundraising. You will get, name it, who are getting into fundraising. And the reason why they get in development is the impact that the development space creates. Like right now, I am not telling you this for anything. I have created a program, that has now been funded, to a tune of $63.2 million to support 1,000 young Africans across the continent, to come and study, at a university, with 70% being young girls, young women, and 25% being refugees and displaced youth, and 10% being persons with disability. So what is rewarding for me, that program has already brought in 400, young people to study at my university, USIU-Africa, across 34 countries in Africa. So what is rewarding is getting somebody from the village of Malawi, of Uganda, of Ethiopia, who did not know, that their life would change, just to come and, experience, this amazing environment and to jumpstart their careers towards dignified work, entrepreneurship, and further studies. In the same breath, I've also created a program. This is what we do in development, create programs that we are implementing an e-learning program, in 10 African universities. When COVID hit us, most universities were shut, students were sent home. So the question therefore is, what happened? Can we build resilience of higher education space so that should another pandemic strike, then we are unable to, to send people home, learning continues. So we are implementing this program in Makerere University in Uganda, University of Gonda, in Ethiopia, Acheshi University in Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University in Ghana, Earth University in Costa Rica, University of Beirut, and University of Rwanda in Rwanda, and the USIU here in Kenya, and University of Benin, the University of Abomey-Calavi in Benin, So the impact at all these universities combined will impact 600,000 students. 600,000 students. So we are teaching faculty and students and strengthening institutions' online capacity, so that now they are able to support more young people, for online teaching and learning. So development is about the impact. So I venture into this development because of the impact that it creates. I'm a beneficiary of a scholarship myself, which is development. So again, I say, this is a perfect way to give back, and support the aspirations of more young people. So that's how I got into development. And the people who are creating pitches right now, you're already in development, So regardless of whatever professions you choose, that is development, because you're trying to, our work in development is to create pitches, get a case, what is working, what are the gaps, and now sell those gaps, to potential partners and potential investors. And that is what pitch is all about. And that is what this team is doing. And I'm super proud of everybody who's participating in this WMI Academy.
That is so amazing. Oh my God, it's so hard. It's moving and very motivating. Patrick is saying, wow, we've benefited a lot from the e-learning platform in the University of Rwanda, and he's applauding you. Thank you so much, Eannes, for the good work you have done. And I thank you so much for the presentation today. All the questions are answered satisfactorily. And we really appreciate you for your time. Now, a quick reminder to our scholars, our pitch presenters. I hope you've enjoyed and learned so much from this session, and it's important that you remember in our final week that for attendance, if you plan to earn a completion certificate, you have to catch up on any session you may have missed. If you registered for the pitch competition, you have to record 3 minutes oral presentation without slides about your business, NGO, or CBO idea. You have to follow the judging rubric to ensure you are hitting all the points to score points. And then remember, this video must be submitted by Wednesday, 26th of October at 5 p.m. East African time to Nicole via email or to Nicole on her personal WhatsApp number. Knowledge submissions will be accepted. Also, ensure that you have a strong internet connection during the pitch competition webinar. This will enable you to cast your popular vote after the last presentation and make comments and suggestions to all presenters via the chat box. And the winners will be announced during the first week of November. We look forward to bringing you all together one last time on Friday, 28th of October at 5 p.m. East African time. All the best and good luck to all the pitch presenters, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you on Friday. Again, Eannes, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. We also appreciate all the attendees. We do not take for granted your time that you've spent with us. And I'm sure we've learned a lot, and we're going to put all these things into consideration. And we're looking forward to seeing the presentations on Friday. All the best, guys.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to learning more from the pitches, and I'm also looking forward, to a continued collaboration with the team,
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's keep engaging, best of luck to everyone, have a lovely day, and be happy always.
Thank you so much, Eannes. Bye.